Good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon, sir.
Today we are going to learn class 12 English drama on the face of it by Soham Dudhe. So this is a very interesting drama about physically handicapped people who face lots of difficulties in their life. There are two important characters in this drama. One is Terry, who is a teenager boy, and other is Mr. Lamb, who is an old man with a teen leg. The author of this famous play, Susan Hill, was born on 5th February 1942. He is an English author of fiction and non-fiction works. Her novels include The Woman in the Black, The Mist in the Mirror, and I Am the King of the Castle, for which she received the Somerset Maugham Award in 1971. She was appointed Commander of the Order of the British Empire in the 2012 birthday honors for services to literature. Okay, students, so this was the brief introduction of the author of this play. Can you see here? What can you see? Garden. And what is there? Apples. Okay. So, Derry, who is the boy character of this story, entered the garden of Mr. Lamb. Mr. Lamb is a old man. Okay. The story begins with a teenage boy entering a garden. His face is burnt on one side due to an accident when acid fell on his face. He has gone there to hide himself as he is afraid of facing people. He fears being teased by others for having such a face. But when he enters, he finds someone already present there. He tries to leave the place, but he is stopped by the old man, Mr. Lamb, the owner of the garden. Derry feels guilty for entering the garden without permission. Mr. Lamb welcomes him and tells him not to leave just because of his presence. So, students, in this small paragraph, we have learned that Derry is a small boy, okay, and one side of his face is burnt, okay, by acid, okay, due to some incident, and he comes to the Mr. Lamb's garden. Mr. Lamb is a very experienced and old person, and he is very amiable person. Okay, so Derry is shy, he tries to leave. Okay, so Derry wants to leave as he thinks people don't like his face, and moreover, they get afraid of his looks. Mr. Lamb insists him to stay there. They enter into a conversation that how Derry is not liked by anyone and how he gets people behaving like this with him. Mr. Lamb tries to console him. He tells him that he has a teen leg and kids make fun of him. Okay, now because Derry is shy and hesitant, lacking some self-esteem and self-confidence, he thinks that other people are afraid of him. They don't like him because of his ugliness. Okay? But Mr. Lamb is such a good person. He tries to give confidence to Derry that that doesn't matter how you do. You should be comfortable here, okay, and you should talk with people. Okay. He tells him that he has a teen leg and kids make fun of him. Still, he is not depressed and enjoys his life. They both talk about various things and this leads to revelation of David's fear, depression, and hatred about his being in such condition. Now, as you can see, this play is meant for the physically handicapped people who face many problems. So here Mr. Lamb is also physically handicapped, but he tries to make Derry much more confidence, and so that he should become social and he should come and mix with people. Okay, so that his fears and frustration and complex, whatever is there, that should be stopped. Okay, Mr. Lamb keeps on telling to think of the positive things. Soon they become friends, and Mr. Lamb asks him to help him in plucking the crab apples of his garden. You know, students, Mr. Lamb is he was earlier working in army, okay, and he got his leg blown off due to explosion. Okay, now he lived in a big house with a big garden. Okay. So students, you can see what Mr. Lamb is telling. There is that he can help in plucking the crab apples. Okay, crab apples are found in forest. Okay, Derry tells him that he had come too far from his home and hadn't told anything about this to his mother. Okay, Derry says that he had come without taking permission mother and long distance, and so that his mother will worry about him. Okay? We can also think from this storyline that Derry doesn't much often come outside. He rarely comes out, and that's why he's now here. What role Mr. Lamb is doing is that he is trying to make him forget about his whatever bitter experiences, past experiences, and he wants Derry to live in the present life. Okay, enjoy his present time and don't waste his time in unnecessary fears. Okay, and all those things. Permission from his mother, Derry finds it difficult, and this leads to small quarrel between both of them. At last, Derry tells him that he would come back after taking his mother's permission. His mother does not want him to go back, but he comes back again to fulfill his promise. What happens here? Lots of conversation, because this is a play. Lot of conversation is going on between Mr. Lamb and Derry. Mr. Lamb succeeds in making Derry forget his face, ugly face, and all those things. Okay, but Derry says that I would go home and again come back. I would take my mother's permission. But when he go to his home, his mother says, "Don't go there." She says that I have heard about him. Okay, and you should not go there. Actually, his mother is also adding to his problems. Okay, because she also don't want him to go out. Okay, but I think Derry has come to a right person, because he needs such a open-minded person to guide him, to and to help him. So he is like a mentor for Derry. Okay. Meanwhile, Mr. Lamb climbs the ladder on his own to pluck the crab apples. Now in the garden of Mr. Lamb there are trees of apples, crab apples, and he often himself goes and plucks the apples. He has a ladder also. Okay. So he goes to pluck the apples, and because he's alone. What happens then is, we can see here, Mr. Lamb falls from his ladder and dies. This is very unfortunate that he falls from his ladder and dies. Derry, on the other hand, returns to the garden to help him. When he enters the garden, he sees Mr. Lamb, who has fallen. Okay? Derry tries hard to make him move, but he did not get any response. So, students, unfortunately, Mr. Lamb falls and broke his neck and dies. Okay? So, this thing has happened. Derry tries hard to make him move, but did not get any response from him. Finally, he comes to know that he is dead and starts crying. Okay?
We will see the life-changing statements of Mr. Lamb that brought a transformation in Delhi.
You could lock yourself up in a room and never leave. There was a man who did that. He was afraid of everything in this world. A bus might turn him over, or a man might breathe deadly germs onto him, or a donkey might kick him to death. Also, he went into this room and locked the door. Forever, far away. Then what? A picture fell off the wall onto his head and killed him. You see, but you still say peculiar things. Peculiar to some. What do you do all day? Sit in the sun, read books. You thought it was an empty house, but inside it's full of books and other things too. I am fond of curtains, shutting things out, shutting things in. I like the light and the darkness and the windows open to hear the wind. Yes, I like that. When it's raining, I like to hear it on the roof. So you are not lost, are you? Not altogether. You do hear things, you listen. You talk about me downstairs when I am not there. What will he ever do? What's going on to happen to him when we have gone? However will he get on in this world? Looking like that, with that on his face. That's what they say. Lord God, you have got 2 arms, 2 legs and eyes, ears. You have got a tongue and a brain. You will get on the way you want, like all the rest, and if you chose and set your mind to it, you could get on better than all the rest. How? Same way as I do. Do you have any friends? Hundreds. But you live by yourself in that house. It's a big house too. Friends everywhere. People come in. Everybody knows me. The gates always open. They come and sit here. And in front of the fire in winter, kids come from the apples and pears. And for toffee, I make toffee with honey. Anybody comes, so happy. But I am not a friend. Certain you are. So far as I am concerned, what have you done to make me think you are not? You don't know me. You don't know where I came from, or even what my name is. Why should that signify? Do I have to write all your particulars down and put them in fiffling box before you can be a friend? I suppose not. No. You could tell me your name if you chose, and not if you didn't. Derry. Only it's direct. But I hate that. Derry. If I'm your friend, you don't have to be mine. I choose that, certainly. I might never come here again. You might never see me again, and then I couldn't still be a friend. Why not? How could I? You pass people in the street and you might even spoke to them, but to never see them again, it doesn't mean they are friends.
Mr. Lamb fell down and died, but his specular words transformed Delhi.
This is a very, very sensitive play depicting the life of the physically disabled people. Now, there are so many people in the society who are disabled, but they have also the right to live and enjoy like others. But what happens? Many times they are secluded, or they are not taken as normal people, and that's why what happens? They create certain complexes in their minds, inferiority complexes, like Derry. Now, as the play starts, Derry enters Mr. Lamb's garden, and he is hesitating he does not come from the gate, but he takes the wall. Okay, climbs the wall. At last he meets Mr. Lamb. Mr. Lamb asks him his name, and Derry tells that his name is Derek, and he's 14 years of age. And he tells that Derek says that because of his his face is burned by acid, and due to that people are scared to look at him. Okay, they think that it is terrible, it is the ugliest thing in the world. But Mr. Lamb says that don't think like this, be positive. You know, it doesn't matter how you look outside, from outside, but it matters how you are inside. Okay. Now he gives a very beautiful story. There was once a princess, and there was a beast. Now the princess loved that beast for himself. Okay, and when that princess touched that beast turned into a beautiful prince, handsome prince. Okay, so now it is not like that. You know, the disabled people should not mix with the normal. Okay. Now in this drama, Derry has heard some words of the other people. They said he shouldn't have come from the hospital. Then he come back from the hospital after that accident. People said he shouldn't have come back. He should have stayed there. He should have lived with the people of his category. So the blind men live with the blind men, and deep people with the deep, and lame with the lame. Then what kind of world it would be? Okay. So at another time, Derry tells that one woman says, that is terrible. Space is the ugliest thing that she has ever seen. How he will get on with the world? Okay? How will he adjust with the world? Who will love him? Okay? So Derry says that even his mother kisses him on his other side of the face. Mr. Lamb tries very hard to tell him that he can find nice girls to talk and to love also. Okay. Later on, Derry says that I am not your friend. So here Mr. Lamb says that it doesn't matter. You are Derry, you are a boy, and I am an old man. Okay. Although we look different, everything is the same. Okay. There is a garden. Mr. Lamb has a garden. There are weeds and there are plants. Okay. Some people call it a garden, plants. Some people call it weeds. Okay, weed garden. So everything, everything depends on our perspective. How we look at things. Okay. So now after that, they had a very nice conversation, and gradually Derry is forgetting his fears, and he is getting a wish to live, desire to live happily and positively and smartly. Okay, so students, this play is very, very sensitive, and it creates awareness about the physically handicapped people. Now we will look at the characters. So if we look at Mr. Lamb, what are the features of his personality? How is he?
Optimistic person.
Optimistic person, very good. Another?
Friendly with others.
Friendly person, very good.
Experienced person.
Experienced person, very nice. Yes? Kind-hearted person, very nice. Okay, because unless someone is kind-hearted and friendly, he cannot give opportunity or he cannot help other person. Okay, so his wonderful qualities. Okay. Now someone can focus on the characteristics of dairy. What are the characteristics of dairy? How is dairy? Dairy कैसा है?
Depressed bro. Timid.
Depressed boy. Very good. Again.
Timid and intimidated.
Timid. Very good. He is a timid. He is hesitant. Okay. As if some complex, some complex is stopping him. Okay. Hesitant. Shy. You can say. He's shy. And he is intimidating also. He is having some fears and apprehensions also. Okay, so do you think Mr. Lamb is the right man? How he has tried to change dairy? What will you say?
Yes, of course, because he gave courage to dairy.
He gave courage to dairy. Very good.
He comforts him.
Comforts him. That is the very important point. Yeah, he made him feel relaxed and feel at home. Okay, and very comfortable. Any other thing about dairy? Okay, then what will you say about dairy's mother? How is she?
She should treat her like he is normal and she should console her child, her son, instead of making him afraid and he is getting depressed because of his mother.
Yes, very nice. You know what he has expressed, his ideas are very real. You know what his mother is doing. She is trying to overprotect him instead of letting him have some experience of the world. You know. So we have seen a very funny story there. One man who was very afraid of everything. So what? After all, he went into a room, locked himself. Okay, but he did not live there for a long time. Okay, just one picture fell on him, and he died. So in order to have a worldly experience, real life experience, we have to go out and mix with people. This is the way we can learn and get experience, and that is what Mr. Lamb was telling. Even children were calling him Lemmy Lamb, okay, but still he is not bothered. He's not bothered by that. What Mr. Lamb is trying to tell dairy is that don't bother and don't get bothered by the remarks of others. Other people are there to say something. They will give remarks, say something. But we should not give more attention to that. We should focus on what we want, okay, and what we want to do. That is more important. And he is able to infuse that spirit in dairy, okay. And although at the end of the play, I think there is a little bit sad scene, okay, that Mr. Lamb falls down from the ladder and dies. But I think whatever time Terry has spent with Mr. Lamb, that was enough to bring a lot of change in dairy. So we can see change dairy at the end of the play. I think students, you have enjoyed this play very much.
Yes, sir.